Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome into another edition of the Morning Edge DeadPresPicks. Joined today by Ben at WeBeatTheSpread. Thank you for coming on, Ben. We got a lot to get into on today's slate. First off, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Lot to get into. A lot of bets. Big Monday, or Big Tuesday. I'm sorry. Valentine's Day, obviously. So we got to win some money for that, Ben. You know, those gifts aren't going to pay for themselves. The flowers get expensive. Delivery fees are up now. So not easy out here, but we're going to get into it. First, we got to recap my sole bet from last night. It did go down. It was the Lakers money line. They lost by 800 points. They just got smoked, kind of from the get-go. I think they were up like 7, and then they lost by it was just over. They were down 20, I think, after the first quarter. Game got away. What can you do? You can't win them all. You know that's sometimes how it goes. So Lakers go down. LeBron not playing. That wasn't cool. Can't do much about that, Ben. You know, sometimes it happens. You just got to move on, get to the next day. That's the risk of locking in early NBA. I think LeBron, after he broke the record, he's just kind of taking a vacation, which I get. But he should probably start playing soon again if they want to make any kind of run, maybe like a play-in game. So the Lakers are in trouble. I thought the new look Lakers would get it done for me, but not last night. So that went down. But a lot to get into tonight with tonight's slate. We're obviously going to have our best bet. Ben, I'm getting back on the ladder today too. I don't know if you heard. So I'm going after it. Day one, the new ladder challenge. Going to get into my pick as we go on in the broadcast. So make sure you guys stay posted at the end. We will do that just like our best bets of the day. But today I'm going to do my ladder pick at the end because we got to get it out. You know, we went on that little run. And we couldn't quite close it, but back on the ladder today. So excited to get into that. But first, let's talk about this college slate, Ben, tonight. We get 4 top 25 games and some weird lines, I got to say. If I'm being honest, we get some really suspect lines out here. Let's start in the Big East. We're going to look at Creighton and Providence. What's your thoughts on this game? Big game in the Big East. They've both been towards the top. What do you think?
So it's just about a pick 'em, which is probably where it should be. You see Creighton's ranked like a little bit higher. Honestly, I would expect them to have the best offense in the Big East, but I mean, I would say right now they're not necessarily the top. But I mean, if you think about true scorers, I would say that they have some of the best true scorers. Like you have Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's averaging some of the highest percentage in the paint shooting right now. You have Baylor Shireman who came in, and he's nailing threes. So I mean, when you think about true scorers, I would say Creighton's probably a little bit ahead of Providence here, and they probably have a little bit better defense. The problem for me is it going to travel on the road? It seems like all their really big wins have been coming at home recently. Like their win over UConn that they just had that came at home. Their win over Xavier that came at home. They kind of need that road marquee win right now. So this is going to be a really tough game for them. So the line is probably where it should be. I like it to pick them. I think I like Creighton here just because they're on a roll right now. And when I think about late in the game, who's going to be that true scoring team, who's going to have their stars step up, I think it's Creighton here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the fact that we see Creighton as a road favorite here makes me like Creighton. They also won that first time. The first time they played was at Creighton. They won that game. I tend to think games like this, that second time around, typically I like the revenge home spot. But why is Creighton a road favorite here? I mean, I know that they're a little bit better overall, but they're not separated by much, right? I mean, 18 versus 24, as we know in college basketball, means nothing. So I think Creighton's the play here, honestly. I think that the way that this line is shaped out, you kind of mentioned it too, Ben. They're offensively, I just think they have too much firepower for Providence to keep up with. Providence can get in those kind of offensive droughts, and in a game like this, you fall into an offensive drought against Creighton, you're gonna be in trouble. So I think it's gonna be a tough game for Providence. I think the line here actually suggests that it is a Creighton play, and typically I'm not I'm not a huge road bettor in college basketball. I 100% typically I'm with that home team, especially as a dog, but the line should be flipped here, in my opinion, if it was Providence play. If Providence was -2 at home, I'd be all over the Friars. But I think the fact that we're seeing this line where it is, it's a Creighton read for me all the way. All right, let's shift gears to the ACC. NC State, right, versus Syracuse. Another line that's a little off. Right now, we're seeing on FanDuel, Syracuse is a favorite. I saw on DraftKings this morning it was at like a pick 'em. I'm all over the Cuse tonight. What do you think on this game?
I'm gonna be saying I'm glad to agree here because the way to beat Syracuse, there's a pretty simple way to beat Syracuse. You have a tall team that plays zone. You need to nail
Yes.
threes. Like you need to shoot threes. If you're not making threes, you're not gonna beat Syracuse. I mean, there's a few exceptions. Like North Carolina beat them without really shooting threes. But I mean, there's a few exceptions, and NC State is not one of them. Um, you have to shoot threes well to beat Syracuse. You're not going to beat them down low in most cases, just with their zone play, with the height they have down low. In NC State, they're shooting 34% in ACC play from three. That is ninth in the conference. I just don't think that's going to travel well on the road. I think they're going to be cold from outside tonight, which is going to spell a lot of trouble for them against Syracuse. I think that Jim Boeheim's going to have a pretty good game plan here tonight, and they're going to knock off the ranked NC State team.
I like that. I like that. I mean, I'm all over. I'm all over Syracuse here too. More so just the line base here. I think NC State. You kind of mentioned that this is a team that came from being unranked to start the season. They've had a really good year. They're going to be a tournament team, but I think Syracuse is in a really good spot here. So I'm going to trust the Cuse on that line at home. They take care of business. You mentioned Jim Boeheim's going to have a good game plan as we can expect. All right, here's my dog of the day, Ben. We're going Oklahoma over Kansas State. I love Oklahoma in this spot. The Big 12 is so good that like Oklahoma still has a slight chance to make the postseason. I think they've won like 2 conference games. So
Hey Matt, I got some line updates here. Oklahoma is no longer a dog. There you go. And I've adjusted the other ones too. These have just changed.
okay, see, so my dog of the day is no longer a dog. How about that? All right, well that's kind of good. So my dog of the day that was a dog that's now a favorite. Look, Oklahoma, they need the game. They've played better at home. They haven't been like a great home team. Not gonna lie, they're I think a game over 500. Kansas State, though, they've really struggled away from home. They're under 500 on the road. So I think that the fact that this line has shifted even more in Oklahoma's direction makes me actually like it more, even though they're technically we didn't get the best price. I mean, I did lock in plus 100 this morning just for premium members and everything. But look, this is a game, like I said, that they absolutely need. The Big 12, again, being as deep as it is, if Oklahoma goes on a run and strings together some wins, they're going to have a resume that's respectable at the end of the year. They beat Alabama, who's now the number 1 team in the nation, at home, and they didn't beat them. I mean, they curb stomped them. Like, they won the game by like 30 points. It was not even competitive. I don't expect them to roll Kansas State tonight, but I do expect a game where Oklahoma comes out, understands, hey, we need to win this game. It's kind of a desperate spot from Oklahoma. And we know, especially in the Big 12, how big of an impact a home court makes. Look at the other game to our right that we're going to get into in a second. Kansas Bend, number 5 in the nation, they're a 2-point favorite against Oklahoma State. Like, this conference is so deep that the teams that are in last place in the conference get that respect on a line. I mean, Oklahoma is in dead last. Last time we backed Texas Tech at home, they were +4 against Texas, right? And we backed them. You know, I thought it was a good spot for them. They ended up winning the game. But that shows Texas Tech was last in the conference, facing the best team in the conference, and the worst team won because it was on their home court. If that game's at Texas, I think Texas wins that game by 15. Like, home court in this conference is pivotal. So for me, I think that this is a really good spot for Oklahoma tonight. So technically not a dog anymore, but they were a dog. So I'm still counting them as my dog of the day. What do you think?
Yeah, I like Oklahoma here too. I hate to be like a parrot right now, but everything you said is basically what I agree with here. What's even more interesting is that I'm seeing 55% of tickets are on Kansas State, and the line just flipped towards Oklahoma. That says a lot. It means the Sharps are probably buying into Oklahoma. And you look at the spot. I mean, you touched on it. Like, the Big 12 is insane this year. It's insane. And Oklahoma, they have the second hardest strength of schedule in the nation this season. And so the fact that they're just below 500, I don't know if they're going to sneak into the tournament. It really depends on these last few games for them. But you make the point, and like, they do have good wins. When you look at some of their biggest wins, Alabama at home, West Virginia at home, Texas Tech on the road in overtime, that's a pretty good win too, even. Florida on a neutral site, like, they do have good wins. Like, we have seen them be able to beat good teams. So it's not like they're completely a lost cause. And they still have Tanner Groves. They have Jalen Hill. Like they have good scorers. I think that's going to be the key tonight because Kansas State, they're not a tall team. They're one of the shortest teams, like bottom 60 in the nation here. And Oklahoma has the height to disrupt them. I mean, they're shooting basically all their scoring comes inside the perimeter. And Kansas State, they are allowing opponents to shoot 52% inside the perimeter, which is 8th in the Big 12. So I think if you're going to beat them, it's going to be down low. I think Tanner Groves is going to be a huge part of tonight's game. And I kind of like them here. I think the line says a lot. You have a 2-10 team in conference as a very slight favorite now over the number 12 team in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's pretty telling.
Yeah, definitely a weird line, a suspect line there that we will trust on Oklahoma. All right, last game before we get into our best bets, and then we're gonna have a fun little segment with my all-time blue bloods of college basketball that I'm sure will spark some conversation. All right, Kansas -2.5 here. Listen, this is another game I love the Cowboys in. I think Oklahoma State gets it done tonight. I'm going with all the dogs on this slate except Creighton, which I feel like isn't a dog because I bet you that Providence is going to end up being more of a public dog or a public dog. Sorry. Oklahoma State, though, we kind of talked about desperation spots, needing a win. This is another spot, I think. Oklahoma State at home tonight. They're playing some good basketball right now, Ben. I mean, they've been playing better as of late. Kansas is a team that obviously has been extremely impressive. They just won a national championship a season ago. But Oklahoma State has by far played their best basketball at home. Only 2 home losses this year, 11-2 in their own building. Kansas has actually struggled a little bit on the road, which is uncharacteristic for Bill's self team. But again, this line being so short, the number 5 team in the nation is only a 2-point favorite right on the road here. It's a line that I can't trust. I mean, maybe Kansas gets that. I'm sure one of these 4, like one of the bets that looks obvious will win, and maybe it's Kansas here. But I'm going to kind of fade all 4, so I'm going to go Oklahoma State. What do you think?
I can't agree. Honestly, this game's really hard for me to pick because I agree with you there in that one of the obvious plays will probably hit today. And like on paper, Kansas is a much better team here, obviously coming off the title win. So like they're one of the best teams in the nation, that's for sure. So it's hard to bet against them any day. And this looks like the spot to fade them just with how good Oklahoma State has looked. But I'm wondering if Oklahoma State's just on a good run and the wheels are going to fall off here because like they're coming off that huge win on the road against Iowa State, home win against TCU. Like they've had some pretty good wins. They're on a 5-win streak now, but I don't think they're going to win out the rest of their schedule. I mean, in the Big 12, you're not going to win out the rest of the schedule. And if they're going to drop a big game at home, it kind of feels like this would be the spot, but they just lost by only 2 when they played against Kansas on the road earlier this season. So who knows? Maybe they match up well against them. I just don't think I can pick a side here, to be honest with you. It's too hard for me. You can make pretty good arguments for both sides in this spot. So
yeah, certainly can. I think the game on this list, the best dog, even though like we obviously said the line, we're doing this live, flipped a little bit. I think Oklahoma is in the best spot tonight. Syracuse is really appealing.
Yeah.
And it looks like the Syracuse line actually flipped a little bit. So seeing them now as favorites. These lines will slightly move through the day, but I'm all in on the home team tonight except Creighton because, again, that Creighton line to me makes 0 sense. I don't know why they're favored on the road against Providence team. Has Providence lost at home this year? I think they're undefeated, right?
I want to say yes, they are undefeated.
We could stat check me, but
I don't. 13-0 at home.
Yeah, okay. So say 13-0 at home, and you're a dog tonight. Like it doesn't really add up. I think it's a Creighton line here all the way. So I am going to trust them this time around. All right, so now it's time for our segment of the day where I'm going to give you guys my top 10 college basketball teams ever. All right, so here, it's not teams, I'm sorry, it's programs of all time. Here's my list, Ben. We got UCLA, number 1. Hold on, let me tweet it out first because I need the people's opinions on this one. I know there's going to be some controversy on this. All right, so here we go, getting it out. All right, my number 1. Now, remember, this isn't like one season. This is all time. We got to go UCLA, right? 11 national championships. I don't think that one's even debatable. They've obviously turned out some great teams. Kareem there, Bill Walton, Reggie Miller. I mean, they've seen Russell Westbrook. Even there's a lot of Russ haters out there, Ben, but he's an all-time great at the end of the day. All right, number 2, North Carolina. Now, a lot of people will have Kentucky over North Carolina because Kentucky has more national championships, but Here's my argument for UNC. There is no team in college basketball that has more Final Four appearances than North Carolina. They have 21 all time. That's not even all that close. I mean, UCLA is somewhat close at 18 being next, but North Carolina, when it comes down to all time college basketball royalty, you always think of the Heels, right? Michael Jordan, obviously, there. They've turned out some outstanding pros. I think North Carolina's 2. 3 is Kentucky. I think that's fair, right? In national championships, they're number 2 all time. When it comes to Final Fours, they're number 3 all time. And again, you talk about turning out outstanding pros. They've done a fair share of that. I would make the argument in the last decade, Kentucky's turned out the most talent in the draft. I mean, they've had some outstanding players come out of the draft as of late. Karl-Anthony Towns, Anthony Davis. John Wall obviously had his stint in, he obviously slowed down a little bit, but he had a great run there. They have really turned out pros after year. So I think Kentucky 3. We got Duke 4. All right. Again, national championships. When you talk college basketball, Duke's always up there. Everyone hates Duke, but they're up there. And again, you look at the NBA, who they've turned out. Obviously, some stars. Here's my thing with Duke. So someone tweeted at me like last year. They're like, look at Coach K's players in the pros. I don't think he has like any Hall. Well, Grant Hill's in the Hall of Fame, but who else from Duke has he like produced? Like, I feel like Duke hasn't had great pros.
Tatum's going to the Hall of Fame.
Tatum, yeah, like lately.
Pacey's on. I mean,
lately, Kyrie obviously, but did Kyrie really play at Duke? He played there for like 10 games. I don't know if that counts.
No, I agree.
They've had obviously Zion. Like Coach K's teams lately have been better than like some of those great teams that won. I don't know. So maybe their pro argument you can make a little bit, but college basketball standards, I got Duke number 4. All right, number 5 is Kansas. Again, you talk national championships, they're up there. As of late, Kansas has been one of the best teams. They are 4th all time. They have 16 Final Four appearances. You got to get them up there, right? Kansas they've obviously had a lot of basketball royalty. Someone said Duke and UNC are the same, but I don't think it's all that close. I think UNC has been significantly better historically than – I'm sorry. I know head-to-head it's like – I don't know if the stats still true, but it used to be like everything was the same. The record was like the same. The total points were the same. Like it was always really close. But look at the pros from North Carolina. Look at the pros from Duke. And then the success – I mean, national championship-wise, Carolina has more, right? And then Final Fours, nobody is more than Carolina. I think you got to put Carolina above them. All right, number 6. This is where I think you can start making debates. I got Villanova, 3 national championships, right? How many Final Four appearances? 6 Final Four? They were just in it again last year. Now, Villanova might be taking a little bit of a shift away because since Jay Wright left. But I think all time, I mean, they've had some really good teams. You can make the argument again once they get to the NBA. I don't know, some of their best pros. As of late, they've done a much better job producing some solid NBA players. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges. Kyle Lowry was a Villanova guy. Obviously, he's fallen off a little bit. But someone said Brandon Ingram. That's a good one from Duke. But I think lately the Coach K teams. All right, Tyus Jones doesn't really count. I'm sorry, and neither does RJ. RJ sucked. But I think that we got it. I think Duke, that's fair. They've lately had some better players. But getting back to Villanova, the thing with them, Ben, is I went to college right next to Villanova. Villanova is about 15 minutes from where I live. It's a small Catholic school in Philly. Like they don't have the that North Carolina has, that Duke has, that Kentucky. So I think what they've done with what they had was like more impressive because they don't have those resources, right? Recruiting out of Villanova, it's not as easy as recruiting, if you're a North Carolina guy or if you're a, Duke guy. So there's my argument with that. I think that one becomes interesting. Number 7, we were talking about this, Indiana, all right? There's going to be some people out there who don't love Indiana this high, but they had some great teams back in the day. You talk about some pros. They've been able to produce good pros. I think they're like college basketball. I don't want to say college basketball royalty, but do you know what I mean? Like when you think of college basketball, do you think of Indiana? Yes or no? Like I think that's a team that you typically, like they have to come up in your mind. I think that they're always up there. You got to give them their respect. So I got them there. Michigan State. I'm going to get them in here. Number 8. They've had some great teams, right? They've had obviously a lot of Final Four runs. I think they are top. They have 10. All right, so they have 10 Final Four teams. That's pretty good. That's going to make the list here. That's going to get it done. Tom Izzo's done a great job, obviously, since taking over that team, and they're always competitive, right? So I think that's a very solid number 8. Number 9, UConn, again, championships. They've been there. They've won a few. It seems like they're competitive often. 5 Final Four appearances. Talk about pros again. I think they've produced a lot of really good ones. Yeah, someone said Indiana back then is kind of like Purdue now. I think Purdue. Just like a quick pivot point, when Indiana beat Purdue and stormed the court, that had to be like a low in like like imagine being like an old Indiana fan. Like, wait, why are we storming? Like, we own these guys. This is our like we run this town, but not so much. They kind of listen. I if you're an Indiana fan, I think storming the court was actually a slight L. I think they were favored in the game too. Not that really matters. Obviously, well, you hope players don't know that, but. I don't know. I didn't love that move. But anyway, UConn 9. Number 10, and this is the one I think I'll get a lot of heat on. Florida number 10. All right. This might be because I was like very young when they had those teams. Joakim Noah, what was it? Corey Brewer. Those teams were outstanding. They won back-to-back national championships under Billy Donovan. And all time, they had some other good teams, 5 Final Four appearances. You talk about pros. Who have they produced in the NBA? You can make an argument. Jason Williams went to Florida, right? The old Kings guard. I think he was a Florida guy. Noah had a pretty good NBA. Yeah, Noah had a pretty good NBA career, and then probably like Bradley Beal. So they haven't really produced a ton of great pros.
Al Horford.
Al Horford. All right. Well, see, I kind of when Al came to the Sixers, he was god awful. So I'm sorry, I'm not an Al supporter, but nonetheless, I think this is a solid list. I know we're getting a lot of comments, but let me know in the comments who you would knock off this list, who you would add on to this list. Ben, what do you think about it? What shifts would you make?
I mean, it looks pretty good. I understand, like UCLA, they have to number 1. They won I think they had a 94 win percentage in that 10-year span from 1964 to 1975. They only lost 22 games in a decade, which is pretty insane. So I think you have to have them number 1. UNC, I will say the only change maybe would be Duke over Kentucky. But again, it's pretty close. I think 1 through 3, UCLA has to be 1. 2 through 4 all feel almost interchangeable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's it looks pretty good to me, to be honest.
All right, we'll take it.
You made a pretty good case for Florida being 10. So at first I was like, I don't know, but then you made a pretty good case for it, so I kind of agreed.
What's that wrong? How about this? The Hall of Fame players. All right, so we got Kansas.
This is just men, by the way, not women. This is just men in the Hall of Fame for these schools.
All right,
interesting.
All right, so whoever was making fun of me for saying about Duke does not have good NBA players.
Yeah, that's true.
I told you guys, Duke is not an NBA team. They're not an NBA program. Now, you mentioned it, Nigel. Jason Tatum, one day maybe he'll be in the Hall of Fame. Zion, if he stays healthy. I mean, talent-wise, right? He's probably going to get there. But do you think Kyrie could be in the Hall of Fame or no?
Yeah, probably. He's got a ring.
Maybe.
Multiple All-Stars, multiple All-NBA.
I think Duke will get there, right, with the Hall of Fame players. But yeah, I mean, Kansas and Carolina, Kentucky, obviously. Georgetown's has been so bad for so long, at least as of late, that they kind of slipped my mind. Who's in the Hall of Fame? How about Duquesne? That's the team on this list that's how the hell did they get here? 3 Hall of Famers from Duquesne. That's kind of random. Obviously, LSU had some greats. Seton Hall. Stanford surprises me a little with 3 in the Hall of Fame. I think Houston's a program we could have put on there, but again, the national championships, kind of their bugaboo. So that's interesting. But look at Duke. Duke supporters, you guys have no one up here. Maybe in a few years you will, but not as of right now. So I think this is a solid list for us to move with. We are going to.
Someone said NC State has as many chips as Florida, and that's something. But NC State only has 3. I was gonna say NC State only has 3 Final Four appearances, and Florida has 5. So I mean, they've gotten closer a lot more. They just haven't.
Louisville needs to be over Florida.
You think Louisville on there?
They have
how many? I know I'm going again.
10 Final Fours.
How many Final Fours do they have? Florida.
10.
They have 10.
Yeah.
Wait.
And 3 national titles, although I don't know if we're counting asterisks.
Oh yeah, see that's weird because where I'm looking it says 8. It's probably because they had a few taken. That makes sense.
Yeah, 2012 and 2013 have an asterisk, but
Okay, yeah,
they
that's
made it.
really fair. That's a really fair one. I can understand that though, because I mean the Rick Pitino era, even though I might have been doing some things that he shouldn't have been doing, they were good, right? They were entertaining to watch. So, how about pros, Nigel? Who was the best Louisville player do you think of all time? Do we have like a
I'll look it up. I mean, Donovan Mitchell's pretty good.
yeah? But now I'm just curious. Like, do they have any Hall of Fame players? Daryl Griffith. Oh, Wes Unseld was a Louisville guy. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, West is probably the best.
I guess he's the best. Yeah, the other ones aren't like. At least I
Travis
don't.
Ellison was pretty good back in
Remember,
his day.
remember Peyton Siva? That dude was a stud. He would always take my money. All right, how about Michigan? Someone said Michigan. Do we have Michigan up there or no? Is that like a fair?
I mean, they have a lot of pros, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Michigan's up there, guys. 6 Final Four appearances. Again, I guess you can make the argument of like that Fab Five team kind of being like Florida. You know what I mean? Like where what now Florida won though, but you know what I mean? Like that short run. But I guess the difference against the championships. Yes, my dogs are barking. Literally.
Literally.
1 Duke, 2 UNC, 3 Kentucky. Ladder pick drops in like 5 minutes. The ladder emojis. I'm a State fan, and I didn't know no State has. Are they talking about what state are they talking about? NC State? I don't know what state.
Maybe NC State or Michigan State.
Michigan State, yeah, it could be one or the other. UCLA doesn't belong. I think UCLA belongs on the top 10. That's a tough one.
just when they say that, ask them how old they are. Because they're
Wait,
definitely
belong
19.
in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean they have the most championship. Like you could say like they're not as good as today's win or like.
Well, so that's
if we did like a last decade, yeah, they're not.
yeah. You said of all time because I would agree. UCLA when I mean this year they're top. They're
they're
top
good
10. I
again.
think they might go far, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, all time probably top 10 for sure, but not past like 20 years.
There's zero doubt they're top 10 all time. I mean, they literally have the most championships ever. All right, so we're gonna segue in here to our best bets of the day. This is where my ladder pick will drop. Ben, yours is not a ladder pick, right? It's just a regular pick for today.
Mine's just a regular one.
Okay.
Probably start ladder challenge one soon, but
yeah. All right, so let's shift gears. That was fun. Appreciate the conversation there, Ben. Your best bet of the day.
my best bet of the day is going to be Penn State. And I understand that seems a little scary. I like the fact that they're catching points here at home, though. The line is probably where it should be because Illinois, on paper, they're the better team. But Penn State, I mean, they do shoot really well, and they haven't been the past few games. I think there's going to be a little bit of progression here because they've shot pretty bad now for 4 straight games. And their last home game, that was a pretty tough loss against Wisconsin. I do think they're kind of maybe due here for a win, especially at home. They've been way better at home this season. They're 11-2 at home. They're 1-7 on the road. So, I mean, they have a pretty egregious split here. Illinois, on the other side, they kind of have the same thing. They're 12-2 at home, and they're 3-3 on the road. So almost kind of a similar situation here. Illinois, I don't know if they're going to be able to do it here behind like Terrence Shannon because he's obviously their leading scorer. The last time they played Penn State, Terrence Shannon had 4 points. So they were really holding him down. Yeah. And he didn't even take that many field goal attempts. So, I mean, he was really limited in that game. And that was kind of the key for them, even though they did lose that game. So, I mean, Penn State, they came out, they won by 15 on the road already, a place where they hadn't been doing good already. They're back at home now. They held down Terrence Shannon last time. I think they can do it again. I like them to win here. This is going to be a big bounce back spot for them after a 4-game losing streak.
You think they win outright?
I think they probably win outright. I like the 3.5 points just because if this comes down to a 1-possession game and you have like Penn State on the final shot and they do happen to lose, you're covered there.
Yeah.
But I mean, pretty good price on the money line because they're probably due for a win here. But I at least like them at the points.
Okay. All right. I like it. All right, guys, here we go. We're back on the ladder, right? We made it to day 9. We did what we had to do, but we couldn't close it out. Now is where we start, and I'm kind of happy because a lot of people were not riding from day 1. I kind of did it out of nowhere. Now everybody's riding with me. Hopefully we get back on this thing and let's win it together. I think that was the universe saying, listen, it's too early to win. You didn't win with everyone. Now let's all do it together. So here we go. Day 1, ladder challenge pick. Boom. We're going to start this thing in the 6th. We're going to go to Toronto. We're going to take the Raptors over, or we're going to take the Raptors, I'm sorry, -2 tonight. They play the Orlando Magic. Listen, the Magic have overachieved this season. They've done a good job. I think if you're an Orlando fan, you have a lot to be excited about. Paolo Banchero has been outstanding this season. They've really done a good job, but this is a spot where Toronto should be able to take care of business at home. A lot of people thought the Raptors were just going to blow it up at the trade deadline. You heard Siakam was gone, OG was gone, Van Vliet was gone. There was so many different people that we thought were on the move. Gary Trent Jr. It was like the whole team. They were like, yeah, he could be traded, The only thing that they actually did was added Jakob Poeltl. So they actually got better at the deadline. You know what I mean? Like they're in a spot now where I think they're going to try to go on a run, string things together. Right now they're in a play-in position. They obviously need to improve that a little bit. They should take care of business at home tonight facing the Orlando Magic. And then I'm going to shift gears. We're going to go out west. Late night game to cash us out. We're going to go with the Clips -2. Los Angeles, they've lost their last couple games. This is a team that I still believe is the second best team in the West, only behind Phoenix at this point. Hopefully Kawhi plays. We're obviously filming this at what time is it? 12 o'clock. So hopefully we get Kawhi Leonard playing because as we know, it's never guaranteed in the NBA. These guys could just shift their movements at the end. But if the Clippers are fully healthy, they win this game tonight, and I think they can do it by 2. We backed the Warriors last night. That was one of our biggest plays of the night, as you guys know, against the Wizards. But this is a tough spot. It's a back-to-back. Andrew Wiggins played that game last night through a bit of an injury. I think he will sit out tonight. There's a good chance Klay Thompson sits out tonight because he just typically doesn't play back-to-backs. And obviously Steph Curry being out of the lineup. They have some other bench guys. Gary Payton, just came over in trade, but he's not healthy for a little bit. So they're not really healthy enough, in my opinion, to compete tonight. I think the Clippers will be the easier leg of the two. Toronto might make us sweat a little bit. It's the NBA, so don't get too down. Last night the Warriors were down like 15 in the first quarter. I think they won the game by 20. Don't react too quick to these games. Take your time with them. The Clippers, though, I think they do cash us out. So that's going to start us off at -106. Again, we will do the math throughout this whole thing. Some days we'll do plays like this, and then we're going to shift it to +104 to even us out. So keep your eyes out for that. But that's going to be the day one ladder challenge. That's my thoughts on this game. Somebody asked if we're starting with 10 or 20. If you guys want to do like a 20-day, I've seen. I mean, these things have kind of blown up, which is cool. But I saw some guy tagged me. He's doing a 9-day $20 challenge. So if I did that bet, I would have
yeah,
won.
you would have won.
I would have cashed out. But no, I mean it's really up to you. I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, it kind of just depends your bankroll, how you feel. You guys don't even have to listen. There's a lot of people that cashed out after my 9th day. Nobody bet that Super Bowl thing with me. You can do that. I mean, as long as you're making money from these things, they're fun. Obviously, the point is to win it all. But, I mean, they're just entertaining at this point. It's a $10 bet or $20 bet. Don't go crazy on them, obviously. But, there's confidence with them. That's kind of your guys' call. How I'm going to do it, how we're going to track it here on the Morning Edge, we'll be doing $10. I think that's fair. We're just going to run it back, just how we did last time. But back on the horse tonight. This is always the toughest step, that first game. I remember our first ladder challenge. We had the Heat money line. Yeah, we had the Heat money line. They just kind of sat. I think Jimmy Butler sat out, and they made some crazy comeback at the end versus Celtics. So you're gonna need some luck and some help, obviously, to get to where we were. But I think we're gonna get it tonight. Get off.
If you started at $5,000, it would be a 2-day challenge. It'd be a lot shorter.
See, that's basic math from Ben. Basic math from Ben. If you're getting odds of 127, you're not on Barstool. Or you're doing money line. I don't know, but make sure you're doing -2 for both, unless one line significantly moved. But I did this right before the show, so you shouldn't get that if you're there. You knew Eagles were gonna lose. I didn't. You should have told me that before. I wanted to bet it. Then I would have won my ladder challenge. But
Matt, the people are asking if there will be any XFL bets in this ladder challenge.
XFL.
XFL.
Yes, XFL starts.
If we get to 10, I'll do an XFL challenge. I'll do an XFL bet to close up.
You're gonna do that on 10. That seems a little risky.
Why not? Why not do it on the 10th day? Hold on one sec. Yeah. So, what do you think, Ben? You think this one wins?
I think so. If the odds are -127, is there one side you would maybe go to -3 on? just to
Yeah, I
like
mean,
get the
I
odds back
think
down.
maybe the Clippers line moves a little. I don't know. I mean,
Well,
I
so
guess sure. If you
I
get
love
if you're at -127, I would go bigger on the Clippers. Like if you have to pivot a line, maybe you go up to 3 on the Clippers because I think the Clippers are the safer side. Is that line still 8? I don't know. Maybe that's why it moved. Maybe did the
maybe.
Warriors? I don't know if the Warriors announced Clay or.
Well, yeah, they might have. I love the Clippers tonight. I think that's the side you go up on.
Yeah,
I
I
like the
agree.
Clippers more than the Raptors because Wiggins last night, like you said, he's playing through that injury. He ended up playing 38 minutes and he put up 30 points. And also at the end of that game, if you watched it, he was like making plays. He had like 2 step back fadeaways from mid range that went in that were kind of like the sealers because they were up. I think like because they got it down to like a 6-point lead at one point, and then Wiggins kind of went off, brought it back up to a 10-point lead. And so if he doesn't play tonight, I mean, he was a pretty big piece of last night's game.
Yeah.
So if he's not playing, they've already been horrible on the road this year, and they'll be obviously even worse if Wiggins doesn't play. So
If you do have 2.5, some books have that. I mean, I don't know if you have Barstool always has flat numbers. I obviously like the flat number more just because I have PTSD from the push of Duke when that was insane, and some people actually lost a ladder challenge on it. But I mean, if you have to do it, do it. Yeah, and just again, it is just $10, as we said in the comments. Yeah, don't go crazy. It's day one of the ladder challenge, but yeah, I mean, if you have to pivot on a line, do it with the Clippers. So the Clippers line did move a half a point. I don't think that would move a ton, but I actually, just so you guys know, also I'm betting the Clippers full spread. Yeah, well, the lines are nowhere -2 because the lines are. So if you're new to this, these are alternate lines, right? Like these aren't.
yeah.
These aren't. The Clippers aren't
This
actually.
is alternate spreads. Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually -8.5. So this is getting an alt spread, which every single book in the world has. Some might have them, like I think FanDuel or maybe it's DraftKings that has everything's like a hook, so everything's like 2.5 or 3.5. But yeah, this is as my book is linked. It's on Barstool. So if you're gonna do it and you want to tell us, obviously appropriately, that's how we're gonna do it. If you have to pivot again, pivot on the Clippers. That's the lean. I mean, I think they cover the actual spread, but you can go up. Yes, thank you, Tito. It is alt spreads. The lines is not -2. All right, so that's going to be our best bets of the night. Ben's got Penn State at home +3.5 playing against Illinois, and then I got the Clippers -2, -106 to kick off the ladder as it is in the all spread. Thank you, Steven. It was a good run, but all good things have to come to an end. And that'll be it. Before we head out, we still got a 500. It's Valentine's Day today, Ben. What did you get your girl? Or your
Nothing yet, so I hope I'm not in trouble. But yeah, I think the harder thing is going to be making sure you don't watch too many games tonight, guys. If you have bets out, just make sure make sure you're not just glued to your screen tonight. I know that's going to be hard if you have bets on it, but pay a little attention to the Valentine.
Ben, I didn't even think of it. Starting a ladder challenge on Valentine's Day was bold by me. I don't know,
dude. That's tough.
That's tough.
You're gonna have to try and check the scores, not watch, or you just do watch. You just deal with the consequences.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go on Twitter because then it doesn't look like I'm watching a game, and I just need people to comment to me all game like how the bets look. Otherwise, I'm screwed. I mean, listen, you're out at dinner tonight watching the worst thing in the world is when you're at like a sports bar or like anywhere that has like a TV and you're trying to have a dinner and like in the back, like the game's just like on the screen and you can't help but like look at it because it just happens to be the game you bet on, right? And you're completely out of dinner. I'd rather the game just not be on, but when they put it on, it's bait, and then you end up having to watch it. Your girlfriend gets mad at you.
Yeah,
it can be rough, man. I mean, you got to play it right.
Yeah, if you're not at a place with TVs, here's the play. You order a ton of drinks, right? First of all, you get beer because that makes you pee more, obviously. You get like a ton of beers because then you have to keep going to the bathroom, and that means you can pull out your phone and just like watch the game for a few minutes at a time. And then, obviously, the more you keep drinking, the more you'll be able to go to the bathroom and check your phone more. So that might be the play too.
That's why Ben came on today.
Please take an Uber to the restaurant if you're following Ben's advice.
Yep.
Please take an Uber.
Take an Uber. Do not drive. Make sure you get a ride. Have her drive maybe. You get a little sober cab, but or just do water. Do water too.
I was gonna say anything technically piece, so you can drink whatever you want. But it's a good play. It's a good play. Going to the bathroom. Now, again, you get on a one-on-one date, you get one bathroom break. Everyone knows that at least. But like tonight is when you bring two, right? You
Yep.
just mentioned, I've been drinking
2
so
or
much
3.
Yeah, like you kind of like start play up a story before, talk about it during the day. So then you can get there. All right. Also, -2.5 spread. Someone said is now -108. So yeah, I mean, if you have to do the 2.5, it's day one. I don't like if we push this. I mean, we're gonna have to do it again tomorrow. If you lose day one, that's the cool thing about this challenge. Like no one's gonna get too sad losing day one. So if you have to do 2.5, please do 2.5. But officially, just so we all know, so no one comes after me after, it's going to be tracked at -2. All right, $500 giveaway that we were mentioning. It's really easy to enter this as we are entering. February is such a quick month. Almost done. We're getting towards the month of March. But you guys have, how many days are in February? 28 this year? It's
28.
different.
Yes.
So you got about 2 weeks left to enter this. $500. And it's super easy to enter. All you have to do is subscribe and comment, not here, but to the YouTube channel at OddsChecker US. So go over, get on YouTube right now, type in at OddsChecker US, and then hit the subscribe button. You can comment on this video today, letting me and Ben know what you're taking. If you're fading us, your Valentine's Day plans, whatever you want, you can comment on any video that you want as long as you comment. You are entered in. And that's it. I mean, it's that easy, guys. That seems like it would only take a second or two to do. So hopefully you guys do that and you guys get involved on the giveaway. Ben, it was a pleasure having you on. It's been a little while, right? We haven't filmed together in a while, but hopefully
it's been a while.
Yeah, hopefully it's going to bring some good vibes today for the ladder challenge. Once again, guys, there's the bets. If you want to rewatch this thing, you can reverse it when we're done. Make sure to get on. Someone said they've been subscribed for a while. Love that. Appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
You have not been. Make sure to subscribe. All right, guys. Well, we will be back with another edition of the Morning Edge tomorrow morning. Ben, thanks again so much. Let's go Penn State tonight, and then let's go Clippers and Raptors. Hope you all have a fantastic Valentine's Day. Make some money because you're going to need it tonight. Let's win.